45 Colt duplex loads. Now, a while ago, we did a presentation on duplex loads in 303 British, and I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in watching that. If you're new here, what a duplex load is, or at least the kind of duplex load that we're talking about, is when you use a small amount of smokeless powder in the case, followed by a large amount of black powder. And typically, as the story goes, the smokeless powder does not exceed 15% of the black powder charge. At least that's what they say. So that's what a duplex load is. Now, I got a lot of comments on the 303 duplex load video about other calibers, one of which was 45 Colt, so that's what we're dealing with here. Now, the ones we're going to test here are assembled with 3.5 grains of red dot and 30 grains of 3F Swiss, followed by a 300 grain lead round nose flat point projectile. And the way I like to do this is the same way Elmer Keith liked to do his. And we're going to compare the duplex load to Elmer Keith's favorite 45 Colt black powder load, which is 35 grains. And again, we're going to use 3F Swiss with a 300 grain lead round nose flat point. The projectile that we use is a 300 grain 4570 projectile that we sized down to 452. I think Elmer sized his down to 454, but that's a whole nother story. I sized mine to 452. So, the duplex load, again, 3.5 grains of red dot, 30 grains of 3F Swiss versus the standard black powder load, 35 grain, 3F Swiss, 300 grain projectile. And we're testing these both in the same firearms. Ruger Bisley with 4 and 5/8 barrel, and a Marlin 94 with a 24-inch barrel. So, here's how it went. All right, so here we have 3.5 grains of red dot for our 45 Colt, and we are going to top these off with 30 grains of 3F Swiss, and then our 300 grain lead round nose flat point. So here we have our 30 grains of powder, and as you can see, that's what it looks like there. Now lately I have been using 30 thousandths card wads in between the powder and the projectile on all of my black powder cartridges, and have found it really helps with leading and fouling in general. And I did the same thing with these being a mostly black powder cartridge. So here's our duplex loaded 45 Colt.
Son of a bitch. Say that again.
No, that's fine. That's okay. Rather than shoot all your ammo and go, Okay, so this is 45 Colt, 3.5 grains of red dot with 30 grains of 3F Swiss with a 300 grain 4570 bullet size to 452.
Okay.
I would be prepared to be underwhelmed if I was you.
Yeah, I'm afraid of that.
Or not. Zeros, you
Zero.
jerk. Come on.
Woo!
981.
Okay.
Okay.
That's not bad.
That's rocking.
Yeah, that's cooking.
979. Whoa. 959. $957. Okay.
That better.
Was different.
That's better.
That was different. You got a 300 grain bullet moving 975 out of a 4 and 5/8 barrel Ruger.
Dang.
That doesn't suck.
Not at all.
And let me tell you, man, it wallops. It wallops. Let me try the Marlin.
All right. What do we got?
Okay, so this is the same round, 3.5 grains of red dot, 30 grains of 3F Swiss with a 300 grain 4570 bullet, sized down to .452. And we're going to try it through a rifle and see what happens.
1285?
1285.
Whoa.
1263. 1245. Nice. All right. Couldn't see.
Whoa.
Boy, that hit it hard.
That freaking rocked it, man.
There you go.
Dude.
Hey, I like those ones.
Yeah. That was freaking awesome.
That was pretty bitchin'.
Yeah, man.
That was pretty bitchin'. Those weren't sticking. The primers don't seem to be flattened off all gnarly like it would be if it was a 44 mag. Definitely
A little dirtier.
a little dirtier looking.
But no serious, you know, flattened off primers, none of that.
No, those
That was good.
That looked really good. So let's see how we did. In the Bisley, the duplex load averaged 969 feet per second with a max spread of 24, delivering 625 foot-pounds of energy. In the Marlin, we have an average of 1264 with a max spread of 40 with 1,064 foot-pounds of energy. Now, when we compare the duplex load to the straight black powder load in the same two firearms, we can see we gain 96 feet per second on average in the Bisley. I'd call that considerable. But where things seem to be odd, at least to me, is we only gain in the Marlin 52 feet per second on average from the straight black powder load to the duplex load. Now, I would expect to at least see the same 100 foot per second gain that we saw in the pistol, if not more, in the rifle. So that really seems kind of odd to me. It didn't make that much of a difference in the rifle, but it made a considerable difference in the Ruger. Now, one of the reasons why this seems odd to me is in the Duplex 303 British, I had probably 100 comments from people that said what they think was happening, and this seems reasonable to a point. There's a couple of things about it that don't add up to me, and it has to do with this, and I'll get to that in a second, is in the 303 British, there's a couple of shots where you could see like these wispies of powder flying out of the barrel. And people were saying that it looked like that was unburned powder. And so what their theory was, and I heard this from I don't know how many people, that the smokeless powder is burning and expanding, and the bullet is already traveling down the barrel as the black powder is burning, and you're losing powder. You're getting unburned black powder flying out of the barrel. The reason why I have a problem with that theory, and again, and not that I don't buy it, but one of the things that I'd like to point out about it is, if that is the case, and it does have unburned powder, or is incompletely burning, or however you want to put it, it wouldn't have tight spreads like that. And it wouldn't be reasonably accurate, I don't think. Anytime I've ever had that happen where I was getting unburned powder, I had spreads of almost 100 feet per second. So I think if that is the case, and again, it pertains to this, and I'm getting to that, if it is the case of not burning the black powder completely, then it's doing it consistently, because if it was doing that, the only other time I've had that happen, I'll have really wide spreads, really inconsistent velocities, and bad fouling. And by the way, I should mention that I've never had that happen in anything that's a cartridge or cap ignition. I've only had that happen in flintlocks, in particular trying to use 4F in a flintlock rifle. You get unburned powder. As far as it pertains to this, if that is the case, and it's not burning the black powder completely, Why then do we have a gain of 100 feet per second in a short-barreled revolver, where in a full-length rifle with a 24-inch barrel, we only have a gain of 52? That just seems odd. And maybe I'm just comparing apples to oranges with the 303 British and the 45 Colt. I imagine that the heavy bullet plays a part in there, making more pressure. But I would imagine the pressure in the 303 British is probably considerable as well. And again, maybe I'm just comparing apples to oranges. I had a lot of people in that video tell me that I need to use a faster powder, a slower powder, a more powerful powder in regards to smokeless. The red dot I used for this simply because I have plenty of red dot and I don't use it all that much. And it is a pretty decent, not 3.5, but you know, if you're going to load 7 grains or something, it's a decent smokeless load for 45 Colt. I could have tried some slow burning smokeless powder in this, like 3031 or something strange. I don't really have enough experience to say if using whatever kind of fast or slow smokeless powder is really going to have an effect. In the 303 British, the red dot loads had the highest amount of smokeless, the lowest amount of black powder, and they were also the slowest. So I don't know, maybe it's just the voodoo magic of the duplex load. Not really sure. But I am open to suggestions, and there's a lot of people out there that know more about this stuff than I do. Robert Stump, Mountain Man, Buick 69 Special. If you guys have any idea on why maybe it's performing this way, I'd like to hear your thoughts. And anyone else that might have any ideas, I'm open to suggestions. So overall, performed quite well. I just was surprised that we didn't gain much in the rifle, and I still don't really know why that is. Overall, very, very good. I'd run these probably any day. In fact, I'm going to load more, assemble more of these and put them on paper in both of these and see how they do, because I was pretty happy with this. At all my tests with duplex loads, 45 Colt, 303 British, and a couple of other ones that we're working on that I can't tell you about yet, the biggest improvement, the biggest pro when it comes to duplex load is the cleanliness, because anyone that's used to shooting black powder or black powder cartridge knows what that's like. It's very dirty, gummy. The bullet lube is pretty specific. You need to use your homemade stuff of lamb's tallow and beeswax or SPG lube, which is what I've been using lately, and I've been really happy with it because I haven't been able to get any lamb's tallow. This stuff burns so much cleaner. It makes black powder cartridges almost not even act like a black powder cartridge as far as how dirty your firearm is and how dirty the cases are. The black powder or 45 Colt cases are usually a little sooty anyway, but these really performed quite well. And if there's one thing I can say about what duplex loads will do in a positive manner is, yeah, you will probably gain some velocity. It's not a tremendous amount like I was kind of expecting when I started all of this. I don't really know what I was expecting, but I guess I was expecting a little bit more power than what you get out of this. But the biggest thing is how clean it burns. And when it comes to black powder, that's definitely a plus. So, as usual, folks, if you thought this video didn't suck, do me a favor and hit the like button and consider subscribing. And if you did think it sucked, well, then go make your own damn video.